Hi everyone, this is Nupur from Soulsna. Just wanted to request everyone to maybe rename themselves as your name and your organization name, so that'll just make it easier for us to for Rutuja to spotlight you when you're presenting. Thank you to the ones who already done so.
Change to focus on. Good afternoon, everyone. Is my voice audible to everyone? Maybe put a thumbs up in the chat. Should we wait for? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is a very, very exciting event for all of us. We are all looking forward to learning from all the new people who are here and from our partners who are already there. Can someone please share the PPT? Yeah. So I'm Sonali. I'm the founder of an organization called Soulsna. We have been an organization, but work in various in different states, in different cities, through different with partnerships with the government as well as with different NGOs. Today we are here on the Shared Learning Conclave, a Shared Learning Collaborate Conclave, to share our learnings about our vocation training program that we have started here in Mumbai and expanded to various other cities through our wonderful NGO partners. So welcome to the conclave. We have many people and many registrations. and a lot of people from all over the country who have joined us. Thank you so much for taking the time out of a busy day. Good move to the next.
Next.
Yeah. So we're going to begin with, the basic problem, and I'm sure this is something that many of you all are already aware of. There are about 81 lakh young adults with autism and intellectual disabilities in India, and 90% of them are unemployed today. And this is a huge problem to solve. Very few opportunities. Just give me a second, please. Yeah, sorry, I know I'd got on mute. There was a problem with the slideshow. Ruchita, can I ask you to please go on the slideshow? All right. So we've already, we are all aware that there are very few opportunities for this population, and the challenges are huge. So one of the things to look at is why are we dealing with the statistics that we are doing today? Why are 90% of our young adults unemployed? Next slide. So the one is to understand the challenges that we are all facing today and what SOLZAC has done so far about it. One is that job descriptions around various sectors are not mapped today to the needs. So as an organization, what we set out to do is map potential jobs in various factors. In various sectors, we looked at the kind of jobs that we know our population, majority of our population will be more adapted doing, which are predictive and repetitive job patterns, which are non-customer facing, which decision making is minimal at that stage. Of course, doesn't mean that everybody fits into this group, but majority of the population would require jobs which are more repetitive in nature. So the mapping was done in such a way that we find such jobs in different sectors, and we looked at sectors like retail, hospitality, textile, various sectors that we are studying and going on studying to see what are the kind of potential jobs that we can find. The second was to have the second is that there is no standardized vocational and certified course which is available for our young adults today. So most of the courses which are run by different NGOs, just like we were running before this. And the challenge that we saw is that when a certification goes from an NGO who's working with this population, the value of that certification is not there. So therefore, the need to make sure that it is industry certified, it is recognized by the government, it is recognized, so that certificate holds more value. And that is what our entire journey is. How do you develop adaptive? One is developing the adaptive content, which is appropriate to the needs of our young adults, but at the same time, having it certified by government councils as well as industry. The next
Yeah. Ma'am, excuse me. Is it audible for everyone? I can't hear anything.
Even I'm not here.
Can't hear.
Yeah. I hope this is better.
No, not
this is better here. Can somebody in the team please let me know? Yeah. All right. So the third thing that we spoke about is that the job environments are non-inclusive, and how the environment should be, how the non-inclusive, whether they should be inclusive or not.
Really sorry to say, ma'am, it's not clear.
The voice is not clear.
No, ma'am, we can't hear anything.
All right.
Suddenly, this is Shankar here. When you talk now, this is fine. Okay.
All right.
And now this is
Okay.
fine. Yeah, we are able to hear
I'm
you
just gonna
properly.
put the video off to make the sound a little better.
Yeah, that will be better. Like if you can switch off the video, that will be better. I think. Yeah, the data will be better.
Yeah, I hope this solves the problem.
This is fine.
Yes.
Absolutely
And
fine now.
Yeah,
all
fine,
right.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think even within the pandemic, I think we're still dealing with, in spite of that, dealing with technical problems and it's been a part of our everyday lives now.
Sure.
Yeah, so the job environments is what we spoke about, where the job environments are non-inclusive at this point of time. How do we, and that is something we're engaging in with various industry partners, make sure that the jobs are secured, they're safe, and we create by creating employee awareness and sensitization programs with various. And the last one, of course, is that the industry is not open to employment. Well, the reason they are not open is because we don't know which are the that are appropriate to being mapped, which are the how can they include this population. So advocacy is something that we've been working on in terms of how to include this population, within their environment, within their employment model. And this is a huge problem. We just spoke about the fact that there are 81 lakh children, that's almost 8 million kids, that young adults that we're talking about in India, who have the potential to get employed. And this is not a problem that we are going to be able to solve on our own. And that collaboration and wood is the only model and is the only way we know we'll be able to solve a problem of this scale. This is the reason why, as we developed our model, we knew that we can't do it has to have everybody is involved and everyone becomes a part of this movement. I'm going to hand over to Namrata, who leads our program, to share what we have done so far, how we have worked through partnerships, and how we are taking this program to various parts of the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonali, for setting that context and giving us an idea of how big and how deep this problem is. And really, as she says correctly, we have to collaborate to make this a success. So really, this is where the journey began. She talked about job mapping, and that was done in 3 industries, in 3 areas, which is in-store, e-commerce, and QSR. You can see our partners out there, which was Big Bazaar, Amazon, and McDonald's. We worked with them, created content, validated the content with academic as well as industry partners, as well as sector council. We met with all of you partners across the country, and we've now expanded this program to 5 cities. We started this journey in June with the 100 Smiles Amazon project, as all of you know, and some of you may know, and some who don't. We have a mandate with Amazon to place 100 students across cities at their centers. And that's the journey began. We met with all of you, partner country. Share this time. This month have already got 100 sold. We have country in 5 cities, that's Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. I think so. A big round of applause to all of us here for the great collaborative work that we do and for coming together on this platform today. Next. Can I have the next slide, please? Tuja, can I have that? Yeah. This model work. We partnered with NGOs across the country, and you'll see the names out there. A big shout out to Mission 1000 for taking these early steps with us. We're really thankful, and we acknowledge that you allowed us to meet with your partners as well, and this has been a huge step for us. We had we signed MOUs with all of our partners. We we gave access to them digital learning platform, and we will be holding internships the students as well as bring them job opportunity. As we speak, we have students who are already in the internship program. So there we so far placed 5 students already at Amazon, and 15 are undergoing internships as we speak today. Next. We look forward to in the year ahead. The retail program will expand further. We also look forward to the hospitality program launched in June 2022, which will also be on the same lines. It will be a one-year program, which we will upload content on the LMS. I'm sure a lot of you will be interested, and we can have a separate conversation on that as we go. We're also starting a 2-year program, which is transition to a direct program, will launch in 2022. Will be a which they want to program at the retail or hospitality, and we hope to open up more opportunities for them. So we can time over to and to take this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Namrata. Hi, everyone. This is Nupur from Solza. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Right. Like Namrata and Sonali have already given you a context about the program, we're now going to quickly move on to what the agenda for today's event is. So basically, our partners who have been associated with us for this past quarter have been sharing with us a lot of different learnings throughout the program that they've implemented with their students. They will be sharing some of their best practices which they have found to bear outcomes in the classroom. Some of these practices are quite noteworthy because you can use them in your own context and setting as well. Through this short journey that we've been associated with them, we've had a lot of learnings through our observations, our conversations with them, and therefore this Share, Learn, Collaborate conclave was put together just so that there could be a common forum where all of us, where they could come and exchange some of their ideas. The way this section has been designed is that we have 4 partner NGOs who are joining us today to present their learnings. Each of them will have about 10 minutes to present. At the end of each presentation, that is after every NGO has presented, we will be holding a 5-minute Q&A, right? So all of you can pose your questions to them. However, how we'll be taking this Q&A forward is that we will be putting our questions in the chat box, just so that there are no technical glitches and we're able to make most of time. We'll put our questions in the chat box and we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. If due to time paucity, any of your questions remain unanswered, please don't worry. We will make sure that we note down your question, and the answers to the questions will be provided to you through a newsletter, which will be rolled out in a couple of days' time. We have 4 organizations with us who are going to be presenting: Action for Autism, Biswa Gauri, Society for the Education of the Challenged SEC, as well as Dia Foundation. We'll be starting with Action for Autism. I would also request each of the 4 NGOs that before they go on to their presentation, if they could tell us all about their experience of being associated with the Pathways program over the past couple of months. I'll start by introducing Action for Autism. Action for Autism is a non-profit based out of Delhi, established in 1991. They started spreading their wings in 1999 and are pioneers of the autism movement in South Asia. I would request the representatives from Action for Autism to give us a glimpse and share their experiences of being associated with the Pathways program, and then they can start presenting their learnings with us. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Nupur. Hi, everybody. I'm Aditi. I'm from Action for Autism, and I'm one of the resource members who is taking the retail program at Action for Autism. So it's been a wonderful experience. We've firsthand come to know how it is to be operating the LMS, and coming from the technical side of it, we loved the organization of the layout of the material. It's very structured and organized, and it follows a certain flow which is required So that has been really helpful for us. Some of the places we had to move up and down a little based on the candidate's understanding, but all in all, it has been organized very well. So with that, I'm just going to jump right into our topic. Or would you, Nupur, like to introduce all the people who would be speaking today, and then would you like to come back to me?
No, Aditi, I think you can go ahead and I'll introduce the other NGOs as their turn arrives.
Okay. It's a small room this session, so if you have any questions, it would be nice if you could put it in the chat box during my talk, and maybe I can address it immediately after. Right. So our topic is on time management. So the thing is that firstly, Action for Autism, right? So our candidates are primarily autistic individuals, autistic adults who are interested in the field of retail. And when you think about autism, you automatically come to the definition of it, which is it's a neurological pervasive developmental condition. Aside from that, one of the basic things that we all know, is that when you meet a single person with autism, you've met only one person with autism. There's a whole spectrum to it. So when we talk about a spectrum of autism, it comes down to certain points. And the reason I'm bringing them up is because it directly ties into time management and how we take our program. So autism is basically a difference in neurology, and it is a difference in collecting information through the senses, processing it, and also perceiving it. So that is different for every student, and it is uneven. So based on that, there are some subcategories which we need to think about. So when I talk about uneven, I mean like communication. So if I am speaking the language, I speak English, I understand Hindi, my mother tongue is Marathi, right? I communicate in Hindi and English fluently. Some of our students don't do that. So they share and communicate in different ways. Some of them, they take time to process what we are saying, and then they think about it and then give the answer. So there's a bit of a time lag for processing. Some of our students are more visual in the way they collect that communication, that information. So we need to have more pictures. Right? So it can be pictures, it can be written information. So we use a lot of chat box typing, which has been really helpful because of Zoom, through Zoom. And some of us communicate very well in Hindi and English. And so sometimes there's a bit of a lag when it comes to communication. Aside from that, there's also the socialization aspect. Okay, so some students are very quiet. Others are very chatty. They want to be the first one to answer. It's difficult to do turn taking, as we all know. So being able to coordinate between all of those students who have different ways of wanting to share and the different pace at which they do share is something that we have to take note of. Another thing is how they learn. So the thing is that some of our students, they are visual readers. So they know a word as fluent as much as they have practiced reading it. So it's not R-E-D, read. it is R and guesswork of ED, and it looks like the shape of the color red. So you're identifying it in the way that they've already guessed that language. That's how they've learned reading. So sometimes the English reading may not be that easy for them. And even when they do read it in English, when they speak, it's Hindi, because that's what they're comfortable in. So after that is read in English, they may stop and wait. And they're waiting for the supervisor to convert it into Hindi for them. And after we do that, then they can probably give the answer. And once they give the answer, we have to give them the options, and then they select it. So there is a little bit of, they're more of linguistics, meaning the interpreters, the more interpreters, so to speak. So we have to, convert into different modes of communication for the candidates, and which is fun because it's fun to hear and be part of, because, all of our other candidates, it doesn't slow the other candidates down. It actually teaches them that this is a new way to talk, and they figure out how to talk to each other as well. So that's really great. Some of them do have sensory difficulties. So we have few candidates who like to do a lot of self-talk in the middle. So, and it tends to get a little loud in between, and that's okay. We are okay with self-talking, as long as, we are respectful of each other. If it doesn't disturb the other person, it's fine. But when it does get a little bit on the louder side, we have certain rules before we started the program. So in the very beginning, we have some rules that we had to go over, that when someone is speaking, we wait. We can all be on mute. We also had to go over all the technical aspects. So unless everyone was very comfortable with Zoom, they would not move at the same pace, because it required a lot of each of the students stopping, sharing screen, shifting between screens on their computer. So they needed to be technically at least knowledgeable in Zoom and moving between different screens. So that information, that training needed to be done in the beginning, which we took a good solid 2 weeks or 1 week to get it done, followed by which we did rules to teach the candidates that, okay, that this is how we need to interact with each other. And it's okay that different people will share differently, as long as we can take the time to understand each other. So we do that. Yes. So another thing is that some of our students have some neuromotor difficulties. So typing, some of the students, they are fantastically fast. Type, type, type. Others will probably just do this, type with one button. So in that case, what are the different things we can try to do? So what we usually do is the students who have difficulty maneuvering between the screens, we usually have them take the lead and we guide them through. So if you take the person who needs the most help and you are taking them center stage, all the others will have to keep pace with them, right? So most of them, they're comfortable doing that. So if somebody's taking a longer time, you can take your time and you can fill in your answers and you can move with the class. But some people have some difficulty. They're very interested in the topic. They love the topic, shopping and everything. So they get very excited and they run ahead. So we need to slow them down. So sometimes what we do is the report part of it in Solzak, like I mentioned, the structure is wonderful. You can go back and forth and you can check where the user is. But for now, it's not completely working. So I'm just basically checking it according to color. I'll ask them to share their screen and show me their, if it's turned blue or not. When it's blue, it's complete. So we would probably just go to them, check if they've gone, we've made it blue, then okay, they've finished that part. Rather than move on ahead, particularly if the next part is a video or an English voiceover, we give them just written questions, which we know that would take them time to go back to the previous videos and look for answers. It wouldn't be a one-word answer. We would probably give them a paragraph answer. So they have to go about and do, hunting and looking for things, while in the meantime, the rest of the class is trying to finish that particular activity or worksheet. Because of sometimes needing to coordinate with the rest of the students, we might need time with them. The students who are faster, who are more able, we give them more activities via email. Just questions. These are the questions you would need to answer. So, so what it basically comes down to is that all of our students are different. All of our students have different needs. The way they share is different. The way they learn is different. And as a teacher, you basically need to do a bit of juggling. But it's kind of like being in an orchestra. You're conducting, and managing everybody in harmony. But I think that has been up till now quite useful because we're on track. So I would love to hear from the rest of the partners any other tips or tricks that they use to manage their class, because that's it from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditi, for sharing. I think Aditi gave us a lot of insights about how they helped guide students through using Zoom, and also how they were able to understand the needs and requirements of every student and adapt their implementation to the same as well. I think what we can do is we can now open up the next 5 minutes for Q&A. What I would request everyone to do is all those who have questions, please use the chat box to put in your questions, and I will post them to Aditi and she can help answer them. Also, apologies that my video is off. There's a bit of a network issue today, and just so that I'm audible, I've kept my video off. So yeah, I think everyone can go ahead and start sharing their questions for Aditi, and we'll take them up one after the other. Please feel free to use the chat box to pose all your questions to her.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you so much for sharing. In fact, we would like to share with everybody that through one of the observation classes that we had with Aditi and to Bonit, the other teacher who is part of AFA, we had observed their brilliant ways of making sure that every student in the class is actively involved in doing some activity or the other. The best part about the class was that even if they had like 7 or 8 students at different levels, they had beautifully managed by making sure each one of them was given a different set of activity. And I think that is one of the learnings that even we had actually taken from them, because it was very beautifully done and it was absolutely seamless. It was so well done that how quickly they could think of an assignment and immediately post some questions and send them a mail, and quickly they knew whom to send a mail to. They quickly could relate to which module was completed, who had to do what. So I think AFA, you all have done a brilliant job at this level. And thank you so much for sharing this and helping us to learn certain things that probably is really going to help us even in our teachings with our students. Thank you again. Thank you so much. So if you all have any other questions, we would like to take up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of questions in the chat box. The first one for Aditi is from Shankar. He asks, do we have a module for orientation on online meetings or documentation? Aditi, you can go ahead and answer this question and I'll post the next one to you after that, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Do we have a module? So in Souls Arc, I don't believe we have an orientation per se. It's, I think, maybe a voiceover, which is maybe an explanation of what we're doing. But when it comes down on online meetings and documentation, I'm not quite clear what you mean by documentation, but with the meeting source to speak, this is through our previous experience. We have a lot of programs which happen online, and we have learned that whenever we have a program online, a lot of the candidates are new to Zoom and the whole environment and the whole interacting part of it. So we've always made we've always had rules put into place of what we can do to be with each other online. So that was just on our end. I don't think so Solzak has that right now, but that might come.
So I would just like to add on this, Mr. Shankar, that regarding the module for orientation on online meetings or documentations, yes, we do have a thorough training that is conducted before we start any sessions with our partner NGOs. We conduct a 3-day training session where we teach them how to use all the modules on the LMS, and every component that is there on the LMS is explored during those training sessions that we conduct with them. So if you all have any other questions on this, we would be happy to take it. And we would also be sharing a link, a Google form link over here. So in case if there are any other queries that you would like us to sort for you, you can just fill it and send it to her. We can have a meeting on one-to-one level also.
Thank you, Aditi and Preeti. So like Preeti mentioned, she'll just be sharing a quick inquiry form with everyone. This is for everyone who would like to get more details about the Pathways program and have our team connect with you and guide you through the whole process. So you can take the time to fill out that form as well. In the meanwhile, Aditi, there's another question for you from Divya. She says, hi, Aditi, thank you for your insight. Could you go over the practices that you implement to allow different students to keep pace once again? Do you also find it challenging to accommodate different support needs in a classroom with only one teacher?
Okay, so thanks Divya for that question. It's good. So just quickly to go over it, it's mostly you need to know your candidate very well. You need to assess your candidate and you need to know how they learn, understand, process things. And once you know that, and also how they communicate. So once you know that, it is easier for you to maybe club certain students together. And when you end up doing that, you end up saving a little more time. Also, we do a lot of prep work before we do Solzak. We just don't land up there. We go through each one, everyone goes through their material, and we are always prepared. In the case that someone goes ahead, we don't prepare for that, but it's always a good idea to be ready for some students who might be particularly more keen. Do you find it to be challenging? Not so much. It's more fun. I like it. I think there are a few more questions.
Yeah, I think just for the sake of maintaining the timeline, what I can do is I'll ask these two questions. If anyone else has any more questions, like I said, please feel free to put them in the chat box. We will definitely make note of them and we'll be answering those through our newsletter. So I just read out the questions from Kavita and Ashok. Kumar, sorry. Kavita asks, Aditi, are the students able to switch between the app and activities smoothly? Ashok Kumar asks, can we follow the same method that you explained for physical training as well?
Okay, so yes, Kavita, absolutely. They can move very quickly. So that's why we do a technical sort of training thing to go over Zoom, all the application, the buttons. We train them how to open Word documents. We practice it with just plain Word documents, open, share videos, YouTube things. And then we went through this will be in your orientation as well. So on the first couple of days, we didn't really start with Solzak. We didn't start with the immediate LMS. We went through it. We went through each and everything, all the buttons that were there. So they knew how to do it. And then we requested them to go home and then check it all the way through. And the thing is that, yes, for the first couple of weeks, they had a few glitches. Oh, there's one thing which really works well. If anybody gets stuck, Tell them to take their phone, take a photograph, make a WhatsApp group and send it on WhatsApp. So immediately I would know what they are looking at if they cannot share their screen. So then you don't have to do so much back and forth and call your parents. We go more towards independence. We don't want to call parents, right? So so we do that. And yes, a little bit I would say can be used offline. There are other things to look forward. Your structure of the room when you are in a class, that because you are offline, that is the main thing. So our way of communicating is through the computer right now. So when you're offline, when you are communicating face to face, how your classroom is structured, what are they looking towards, that has a lot of impact. Whom you place next to each other, even within the classroom. There are some students who like to chat a lot, and then you have some people who are quieter, who you have them sit next to as well. That's something that you might want to look over. So yeah, I hope that's answered all your questions. Yeah. Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll be leaving. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thanks a lot. Right. From that presentation, we now move on to the next partner who's with us, Biswa Gauri. So Biswa Gauri is a charitable trust, a non-profit organization based out of Bangalore that was established in 2009. They work with children and adults who have special needs. They believe in inclusion and creating a sustainable livelihood for young adults. Mrs. Sarbani Malik is the founder, director, and the managing trustee. We'll quickly hand it over to the representatives from Biswa Gauri, and they can start taking us through our presentation. While they're setting up, just wanted to let you know that Preeti has put in the link for the inquiry form. For those of you who wish to know more about the Pathways program and connect with our team members, please feel free to fill up that form. Thank you. Mubin, I think you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can, but your voice is cracking a bit. Maybe if you could come closer to the microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mubin from Biswa Gauri Charitable Trust. I have my colleague here, Sujata. Before presenting our subject, so let me briefly tell you what SoulSark has brought to us. Actually, when we came to know about SoulSark in the month of October, it was actually like we were a little nervous because it was a completely new topic for us, like the 1-year course. You will get the certification, this thing, that thing. So we were little like we were in confused mind. Is our students are ready now, right now, to take that? Are we ready to take up that and go along with our students? But when we saw the LMS, when we saw the curriculum reached us in the month of September, when we went through it, then we know, okay, now we don't need to think about what to teach. It's already ready. It's already the curriculum was there. You have to take it from there, break it down, and present it to your students. Then we got little bit relaxed. We thought, okay, let's do it. Then from there, we started picking up our trainees, like who are suitable for this course. Let me start picking up. So when we started doing that exercise, the first week came with 10 students. We said, yeah, he can do, she can do. Then once we saw, we started, then we realized we need little more time for that young adult to come to this course. So let us change it. So I think I was the one who was coordinating with Preeti ma'am most of the time. I used to trouble her like anything. Every 2 weeks, I was telling her, can you please change this student to that student? And thankful to Preeti ma'am, not even once she said, no, we can't. She said, okay, Mubin, no worries. You send the details, I'll do it. So that's the way we were troubling her. We were actually, we are so thankful because we want our young adults to do something, because that is our motto. We believe in that. If we are working here, if we are in this organization, now we are here to give something, and we want our young adults to do something in their future, like independent living. So when these opportunity came, we thought, okay, some of them are, because everybody is not so good in academic. As Aditi was telling, our students, you will not find the same autistic student, one more student. There's only one comes. It's made of, you can't get the another duplicate of that particular student. So then we realize, I think, it's the best opportunity. Let us take it and let's work towards. That's the way we started working. Navleen ma'am and the SOSARC team is extremely helpful. Whenever we need, whenever we go to them, they're always there. Whatever time you send a message, they're always there to tell, don't worry, go ahead slowly. And what happens, because the time frame is already given there in the SOSARC curriculum, sometimes we were a bit delay, we were a bit low in back in our curriculum, because in practical classes, because what happens, as Aditi was telling, our students has a typical difficulty in verbal. The theory classes, they take it, but how much it's going inside, until you do the practical classes, you won't understand. So we believe in generalization, do the activity again and again to master them. So that's the reason, we have still not able to come up. You have given us the time frame. We have not able to come to till that much there. We are still little back, but we believe in for them to work independently until they get master the skill. We don't want to go ahead. That is the reason. I think Sujata she wants to tell about her retail learning, what she has gone through and what she has learned. Yes, Sujata, please.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Yeah, as Mubin said, the retail subject was very difficult for me. First of all, I don't know anything about retail. So initially when they started, I told them, no, I can't take the retail class because this is very difficult. And then I sat with my colleagues, everybody said, yeah, you can do it, go ahead, all those things. And also we started discussing about the retail. I asked whatever difficulties I was facing. And also the curriculum was shared by SOSARC. It was so good. And also we started thinking that we are preparing ourselves since new subject for me. So I started thinking what easy way we can break down the steps and we can pass it to students. So then I started sitting half an hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes like that to understand myself, then break down and pass it to the students. So the best example is one thing I wanted to share. This month only, last week, we went outside for the stall. One of our student, when we were going bus, so one of our student was telling me, Sujata ma'am, in retail class, you are teaching me mannequin, unscrew, putting the dresses, displaying, see different kinds of shops, all those things. I was so happy that the students are able to taking the instruction and they are able to answer. And not only that, now because of this SOSARC, they started learning, uploading the worksheet, filling, checking the results, everything. The lots of learning happening. So yeah, thank you so much. I really thanks to SOSARC for teaching us as well as the students. Thanks a lot. Over to Mubin.
Thank you so much, Sujata. Yes, ma'am, may I request you to share the screen, please? Yes. So this is our topic. Yes, as we say, our topic is resource optimization. Ma'am, may I request you to go to the next slide, please? Yes. I think I don't need to explain this, how we are utilizing, how we are using our resource, because the COVID has taught us so many things. It was yes, from last 2 years, we are all going through tremendous tension, what is going to be happening next, how are we going to survive, what is happening, how are we going to continue our classes, what is next. These are things that continuously coming to our mind, where so many changes, so many people missed out, so many people lost their job, so many people lost their homes, and the students, like, no, I still remember, I think in the month of March when we were in the physical setting, one of our colleague came and said, do you know this COVID is, there is one coronavirus, it has come in somewhere. Then we said, Acha, wo, abhi it's far, it has not reached us. Within 2 days, we come to know is you have to shut down the school now, because you can't come to the physical setting. That time, each trainer, everybody went through a lot of tension, like how are we going to do, how are we going to take our classes? Because as we say like, no, we believe in work, like what happens with our young adults or students, kids, if you make them busy, you can, their day goes in a proper structure way, they know what to do, what not to do. Moment you put them without the work, it's going to be very difficult. So those are the things that are happening. In that, it came like demographic disparity. What happens, like, no, most of the people, like in our center, most of the parents doesn't know to use the digital access, they don't have a digital access. And we as a trainer, we also did not know how to take the classes online. So that was a completely learning for us. And we took, I think, 3 to 4 months where every evening we used to practice how are we going to present ourselves online mode to teach the students. Yes, ma'am. Can you please share the screen? I would request Sujata to tell us about our organization. Yes, Sujata, can you please
Yes.
go ahead?
Thank you, Mubin. I will speak about BGCT. Yeah. Basically, we will teach autism as well as intellectual disability in our BGCT. So in BGCT, we have 3 projects. One is Bubbles, age group of 5 to 15. And we will teach early intervention, speech, OT, school readiness program, toilet training, basic communication skills, self-help, etc. we will teach. The second one is Pragati. Pragati is a vocational skills. We have vocational center. We have 3 important domain in our Pragati. So one is hospitality, digital, and the creative art. The other one is outreach program, that is Aadhar. Aadhar has 5 partners across rural part of Karnataka and West Bengal. The strengthening the partner across sharing the best practice to strengthen the early intervention program. And we have and the organization trainer have been trained rigorously. And if you want to know more about BGCT, so you can log in into Biswa Gauri organization in Facebook. So you will get to know more about that. Thank you. Over to Mubin.
Thank you so much, Sujata. Yes, that was about our BGCT. Now, may I request ma'am to change the slide, please? We can go ahead. Yes. So when I was telling the COVID brought so many problems. So one of the we tried to put it, what are the challenges we went through. So in that, definitely the access, adjusting to the digital, as I said, the host, yeah, as I said, we work with our young adults, like where most of the parents comes under weaker economical section. It's a difficult task where to ask them to get the laptops, to ask them to get the digital gadgets. So when we said now we have to move on to the digital mode, we have to take the classes on more digital and the students have to join. Most of them did not have access to the laptops. Again, it took little time to us to see how are we going to provide that, because it's not there immediately giving it. It doesn't solve the problem. It has its own process, like you have to go through it. And also what happened, most of our parents go to work outside. That is their livelihood, because they have to go and earn, then only they can take care of their family. What happens when students, some of the students are very good in digital, some of the students is difficult component, the digital component. For them, the parents were supposed to sit next to them and help them. Since the parents were going out to work, most of the time the students were not able to join the classes. So that was the problem we were facing. And also providing the training in simulative condition. As we said, giving theory class, telling them this is happened, that happened, this is mannequin, this is one. Until you do it in your hand, until you do it in a practical basis, it's going to be little difficult for our student to understand, because verbally you're telling so many things, which one to capture. So that is going to be, so they will learn the things in practical, and when they see the things on when they are doing. So we wanted to see how we can provide that particular learning, although they are sitting at home. So that was one of the challenge we were facing. And the other challenge we faced was how to manage the hybrid system. From last 4-5 months, we started working on hybrid mode, where we started calling the students in batches for a shorter period of time. And then what happens? Some of the students are still online, so you have to give the class on both, like the physical also there, the online class is also going on the same time. It was quite challenging for the trainer to attend both of them at a place. Because if you attend the physical setting students here, the student who is online, he may lose his attention. So if you are attending that particular student, the student who are in physical setting, they their attention will go back. And also what happens, because we are on net, sometimes our bandwidth makes lot of differences, like our voice lags. What I'm giving the instruction here, after 2 minutes the instruction goes to the student. So these were the challenges we faced when we started our hybrid model. Ma'am, can you please share the change the screen, please? Yes, we started our hybrid model. We are working, I would say, not so successfully, but yes, we are able to work. We are able to crack that challenges what we were facing. So I think my colleague Sujata is here. She will tell us how we have cracked down those challenges and how we are working successfully using our resources. Sujata, can you please go ahead, please?
Thank you, Mubin. When the second lockdown came, it was very difficult. We had to deliver, keeping in the mind a hybrid system. Then only we were managed offline and online. The one example is, since due to some health issue, some of the students stuck at home. So first day, what I have done is the functional literacy book only one student had. Other students don't had. So I was thinking, one day I showed the book through this one. So, but they couldn't manage. They couldn't write it because due to their eyesight problem, all those things. Then second day we sit with my colleagues and we found out so what to do. So next day I made a PPT and I presented. So that was easy for them, for the offline and online, to complete the worksheet. So that's how we managed offline as well as the online. The second thing is the retail part. Actually, since we had a 3-4 cupboard in our school, not only the stationery items, there are other things also. We involved students to bring all the materials into the AV room, since we have such a big AV room. And we told them to sorting, categorizing, packing, and name each products. And also we told them to arrange it very neatly in the cupboard. So that's how we include them. And also one more, the best practice is, recently we got 2-3 stalls outside. So we involved students for a inventory work. So students only got all the things and they did inventory and they did counting, they did packing. Not only that, when we reached over there, we taught them how to display and how to speak with the customers. So all those things was very helpful. So this is how we managed online as well as offline. So thank you so much. I will over to Mubin.
Thank you, Sujata. Yes, when Sujata said in the center, we have so many cupboards and we know these are the materials are there. They can do the stock list. However, one of our trainee was online. So we wanted to keep him also in mind, because when the activity is going on, we wanted to give the activity which is like everybody can do it together. So we started thinking, okay, what else we can do? Then we started involving the parent. Said, acha, like you have a cupboard at home. What kind of crockeries you have? Or you can go to the cupboard, like how many t-shirts, how many pants you have, involve me in that. So that's the way that particular student also got a chance to do his inventory. I have these things. And also they got the, my mother was telling me when we were speaking over the phone, she said, Mubin, he realized he doesn't have that particular color t-shirt now he's asking me to go and get that t-shirt. So that's the way when he was doing his cupboard and was counting his t-shirts and all, So that's the way he started saying, I don't have this, I want to go and get it. And also mother felt very helpful. And the thing is, that particular trainee was also in the class when other students were doing. He was also doing his bit, although he was at home. It did not look like I'm away from them. I'm doing completely different activity. Although we are away, but still we are all doing the activity which is never easily available at home or in the center. It doesn't matter. The material doesn't matter, but the goal, what we wanted to do it, we could achieve all that one. Thank you, ma'am. Can you please change the screen? Yes, as Sujata said, in this in-house, because we wanted to give more practical input for our students. So we started thinking, usually this work goes in our admin cabinet. Then our admin person does all these things. So we started sitting with the person and started, yes. So we started understanding what are the things we have, what are the work we have from there. And that is the way we started jotting down what are the work our students can do it in practical basis. That is the way we started like creating the material ledger, where they started writing the stock list, what are, how many student attendance, this kind of thing we started. And also in-house stationery shop, where we started giving the mock shop to them, taking them out to give the explore, like no, giving them to taking them to the shops to explore. We started giving the mock shops here, where they got to understand who is customer, who is a buyer, how I'm going to display these things happen. And also now we have started making the preparing the kit. As Sujata said, in Bubbles, we have a younger group students. For them, every week we send a materials. So those preparation our young adults started doing. Ma'am, I have a last slide. Can you please change the screen shape for me? Yeah, thank you. So this is the last activity, like as I was telling example, we wanted to give the more practical input and also the activities which everybody can do it on same time. So if you see, you can see some tweaks there, because we have a financial literacy, in that we wanted to teach our students what to do, groups of 10, how to work on that. When we are doing the worksheet, they are very good in worksheet, but moment when you're giving some object and asking him to do it, that was little challenging. So we started asking our students what is easily available. So they started picking up the twig, and we also noticed when they were picking up the twig, there is lot of emotional things were happening. Like my tray is like, can I help you? Your tray is less. I'll help you. I'll take more to you. The turn taking was going, the helping was going. They were talking to each other to get the things. So these kind of activities going on. And on the other side, if you see, my two young adults are holding the mannequin, that is their own drawn mannequin. When we said, can you please dress up your mannequin? And also we have emotion pockets. That is one of the activity we were supposed to make the jars. But when I was sitting and talking to them, what kind of jar you want? They said transparent jar, this jar, that side. It was little, no, I was not able to get that. Then when I asked, when you make these emotional things, like when you keep your happy moment, where do you want to keep it? They all said under the pillow when we are sleeping, because most of them, they said, when I will be happy in my bedroom, on my bed, when I'm relaxing, when I'm sitting, when I'm giving my time. So that time that idea came, okay, how about making the pockets? We make the pockets. When we were making the pockets, again, we added the numeracy there, the measurement there, fold it into half, fold it into quarter, make your own, color it. So that's the way each student have their own pocket. Inside they have written a small messages, like the small things what makes them happy, and they keep that. One of my young adult, he tries to keep that under his pillow and sleep. So that's the way we started adapting the things to make the learning more easier and convenient for our students to take it. Thank you so much. I think that was our end of the presentation. Now we are open for questions.
Thank you so much, Mubin and Sujata. This was wonderful. From all that you have shared, there is one more thing that I would also like to share. First, I think I don't disagree on one point where you say you all have not successfully launched, but I think you all have done a fantastic job. So from the observations that I have had, I think the best part about your class, what I had really liked was the way you all actually started using the Zoom by, using an account and having these breakout rooms for different classes. So though when I actually came into the session, I was a little lost because first I didn't know whether I'm getting into the art class, retail class, or the other class. But I think it was managed beautifully. And I think I have not seen such optimal utilization of Zoom. That was wonderful. And I also appreciated the way you all had conducted your class with students having online and students physically present in the class. I think the way you all have handled that class was amazing. I mean, you all could actually manage both the set of groups, the online students and the offline students, making sure each one of them is understood. Each one of them had done their activities and everyone was participating. I think that was one of the biggest learnings for me to actually see how beautifully you all had managed two modes of, communicating the content to the students. Yeah, so thank you so much for being a part of it. So we are open to questions, right? So Nupur, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Mubin and Sujata. Right. We can, I think, start taking questions. So all those who have questions can quickly put their questions into the chat box, and Mubin and Sujata can help address those.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, I think the first question is coming from Aditi. Thank you so much for a lovely presentation. I wanted to ask that how do the caregivers of all the students feel about it, and did you have any reflection to share with us?
Things were there, but it took time to build the confidence.
Yes, thank you so much, Aditi. That was a lovely question. Yes, actually, initially when we told the parents, like, no, those students who were, we wanted to take them in the Souls Arc. It was actually in the beginning, it was a little difficult for the parents. They did not agree, like, no, what is going to be happening, how the things and all. But slowly, when the things started falling into place, changing. So they started accepting. And also one more thing, what happened, we are like, as ma'am were telling, we work in Zoom. So there are different breakout rooms. We allow the parents to come and observe our classes. 2 or 3 parents, because they are there with a young adult at home to help. They also know what is going on, what the curriculum is, how the students are working under. So now the students are very happy. And also when we communicate with them, we want this help, can you please help in this manner, these are the subject, they also never, like, don't mind to work with the students, and they give us the feedback on it.
It's a work in progress.
It's still work in progress. We are working. It takes little more time, of course. Did we have chance?
Thank you, Mubin, for answering that. We'll quickly take the question from Shankar. So he says, did we have a chance to take them to any retail stores nearby, or did the parent take them for generalization, at least with relaxation setting in?
How the caregivers of all students felt about it. No. What is the second question you asked, ma'am? Can you please?
Yeah.
Did we have the chance
Yes.
to take them to any retail store? So far, no, ma'am. We have not got it. Like, no, we have started working in house, like, keeping the things. But the other parent who is online, when we talk about this, they have started initiating to take the student, like one or two students are going out to buy some things and coming, but it's fully not in progress. We have not started fully that one. A parent took them for generalization, at least with that. No, right now, not it.
Right. Thank you so much, Mubin and Sujata. It was a wonderful presentation and so much to learn from you all. What we will now do is, since we're running out of time, we will quickly move on to the next presentation.
Sure.
Like I mentioned earlier, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to keep putting them in the chat box. We will keep a track of those and make sure that we're able to answer the same. So the next organization is going to be presenting for us is SEC, Society for the Education of the Challenge, based out of Mumbai and established in 1958. Their mission is to provide opportunities to children with physical and multiple disabilities for education and vocation both. Handing it over to you now.
Thank you, Nupur. So my name is Neeraj Bhatia, and I'm a program assistant for SEC, Society for the Education of the Challenge Integration and Inclusion Program. We're actually a program that's part of the wider SEC setup. And as Nupur mentioned, our objective is primarily a grassroots NGO that work with young adults, children as well, to aid them in sort of their mainstream inclusion and integration into mainstream society. Education being a key role, playing a very important role there. I'd like Preeti for you to share the presentation that I had prepared for SEC.
Yes,
PDF
Neeraj.
slides. Right. If you could go to the second page. Right. So, as I mentioned, multiple and physical disabilities, are primarily our students have. Here is a few other lists, and I think the challenges that arise come from the fact that, as even the previous presenters mentioned, every student is unique, and in our case, it's very much that, and most of these are congenital deformalities, and I want to state that all of our students come from marginalized backgrounds, come from backgrounds where their families and their parents aren't able to provide them, don't really have the luxury to provide them the sort of education or the sort of specialist education and other specialist needs that these students would require. So that that's obviously a challenge. If we could move on to the next slide. Those challenges lead to barriers in education, mental health, parents, family support, access, societal attitudes, to individuals with disabilities. Next page. This is a great graphic that we share with everyone. Unfortunately, mainstream society, mainstream academic education isn't really set up, for, I guess, every individual student, and especially students, persons with disabilities. Here's a perfect example. You've got all sorts of unique children, unique students, and you ask them to do the same task, and obviously doesn't work out. So as an NGO, we want to try to aim to help them bridge that gap. And next slide, please. So these are some of the interventions that we focus on. That the integration and inclusion program focuses on: family inclusion and counseling, health, physical movement, disability and therapy, socialization, social soft skills, education, working around home. The SOLZARC program that we were enrolled with, we had a couple of our students do a pilot program, I think last year, and we were very satisfied with the progress that our students made in that pilot program, and we were just happy for SOLZARC to include us and our students as part of their new program. And around the education and element, is where we sort of include the SOLZARC program, and this has been amazing for us, considering how the program has been very much focused on sort of online training, which is very much relevant in the post-COVID era, especially relevant in the post-COVID era. I myself, don't come from this background. I'm a civil engineer, and I've been doing a master's online myself, and some of the portals, the mainstream portals that I've been doing my master's education, I think are very much, I think the SOLZARC post-play learning management system is very much on target, on par with some of those portals. So it's just been an incredible system, I think, for developing students, especially, post-COVID. It's all the more important for students to have ability to be able to navigate the online world, and have that understanding and interactions with different applications online, and educating themselves from that. And of course, all our interventions are primarily about empowerment. A lot of these students, a lot of their parents, their families are very much worried for these students because of their disabilities. After their parents after their families, they really don't know what's going to happen about them. And it's important that we play a role in empowering our students. And Souls Arc has done an tremendous job in doing that. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, we're done. I wanted to also share a video of some of the classes that I conduct, and also maybe before that talk to all of you about the way I and my team in consultation with them have decided to conduct the classes. Because a lot of our students come from very diverse demographics, age groups, diverse education background. Some of them are second year, first year, bachelor's degree. Some of them have barely finished 7th standard, because of that sort of diverse nature of students, we primarily focused on the young adults, the ones in their 20s and 30s, and we've talked to them about the incredible value in the Souls Arc program. They're obviously associated with RASCI, which is sort of the Retail Vocational Associate Training, certified by the government. Their programs are designed by very successful e-commerce companies, Amazon, and what have you. So obviously there's that element of job readiness, right? And a lot of these students have this gap. A lot of our students have this huge gap in their education where they've just sort of given up, because of the challenges that mainstream education, mainstream society have on persons with disabilities. So it's important for us to bridge that gap, and I think Souls Arc has been perfect, where they've designed a curriculum, designed a program where everything is online, where they're able to access it with tools. Unfortunately, because of the background, the sort of the level our students and their families come from, they're not able to afford laptops. And I think all of my students are using mobile devices, and we're looking for opportunities to provide them laptops. But I think, having said that, even the Souls Arc program, the Souls Arc cosplay tool still works well with laptops, with mobile devices, and they've been doing a fairly good job, interacting with their mobile devices and trying to watch the videos, do the activities, do the quizzes. A lot of our students are very competitive, so they really enjoy that. Sir, I've done the quiz and, I scored so much, and, have you checked it? As soon as they do it. So, the cosplay system is incredible because it sends me an email that, this individual has completed this activity, please have a check. So they're quite keen. Before I even get the email, they tell me that they've done the activity, they've done the quiz. So I wanted to share with all of you some snippets, excerpts from my classes with them. I record. So the way we've set it up is every Friday and Sunday, because some of our students are older and already have a job, and post lockdown, a lot of them jumped on the bandwagon when they got their opportunity to work, because some of our older students have to maintain a livelihood. They have younger families, children, so they're not really available during the day, during working hours, and most of them living in Mumbai city, commute quite a bit. As Mumbai can be quite hectic when it comes to commuting. So by the time they're home, it's almost 8:30. So I do an 8:30 to 9:30 class on Fridays, and I also do a 10 to 12 class on Sundays. I've created a WhatsApp group for all our students where everybody there, is able to share any queries that they have about certain things, from things like, losing their passwords, to having trouble accessing the cosplay website, to having questions about a certain activity, and a lot of them have, I guess I should have mentioned this. English is a big hurdle for a lot of our students, conversational speaking, and especially writing. So reading is a big problem for them. And the voiceovers that I've been working with Preeti and Navleen, have really helped. I'm hoping that more voiceovers come, especially relevant to us would be Marathi in this region. A lot of our students, I think did about 2 months of the classes, struggled initially, and then as soon as the Marathi voiceovers came, there was this incredible smile on their faces. You know, a couple of our students were really excited, and it was sort of like a light bulb that went, oh, now I understood. This is what this means, you know. So the voiceovers have really helped us gain momentum with them. But as I was saying, we do about 3-hour sessions a week. We use this free Zoom 40-minute session. So we have one 40-minute session on Friday evenings and 2 40-minute sessions with a 10-15-minute toilet tea break. And I record each of these sessions with all my participants. There is a case where participants have family commitments, where students have family commitments and other commitments where they're not able to attend, and I've given them the freedom that that's okay if they aren't able to attend, but I record everything and I put those recordings on our Google Drives, where then I send them those links on their WhatsApp groups. So all the recordings are uploaded. They have all the content where I go through the different questions that they ask me. Most of our students are quite independent in that sense, that they're able to use these online tools. They're quite sharp. So, they post questions through the week. Sir, activity 2.2 mein ye samajh mein nahi aa raha, iska kya matlab hua? And then whatever questions that they have, I address them on Fridays, and then on Sundays I take them through anything new, any sort of new topics. But yeah, I'd like to share with you some excerpts of my classes with them. So Preeti, if you could share that 1-minute video clip, please.
Yes, just a minute. Rutuja, can you please share the video?
Yeah, do I have share screen access? I'm happy to share it if need be.
Neeraj, if you can please do that.
Yeah,
We're facing
yeah.
some technical issues.
Yeah, no, of course.
Just a second, we'll have to give you the rights.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Good morning, सबको. आज Sunday का. Is everyone able to hear the video?
Yes, we can hear.
Yeah. Super. I'll just start from the top. Good morning, सबको. आज Sunday का November 21st है. अपने भाई निखिल और दिलीप आए हैं, और दिलीप ने वीडियो 5.1 और वीडियो 5.2 के बारे में बोला है कि उसको थोड़ा वहां पे समझ में नहीं आया, तो उसकी बात करेंगे आज. शेयर स्क्रीन कर रहा हूँ. इधर क्या लिखा है? इधर लिखा है मटेरियल हैंडलिंग इक्विपमेंट. इसका मतलब है मटेरियल मतलब सामान, हैंडलिंग माने अपने को सामान कैसा संभालने का है, और इक्विपमेंट माने मशीन. हाँ, तो ये वीडियो है बड़ा मशीन जो बड़ा सामान को संभालता है, उसके बारे में वीडियो है. हाँ, तो इसको इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं? मटेरियल हैंडलिंग इक्विपमेंट. मटेरियल माने सामान. हाँ. So as you see, some of the words in English are quite difficult for them to digest. So, I go through some of those translations because I know at the outset, if I tell them to do, if I explain that to them, then that gives them a better idea. Like I said, they're quite independent, they're quite savvy. Most of our students with using the internet. So they type things in English and they get it translated in Hindi or Marathi using the Google Free Translator app. So, they're quite savvy like that, and they figure things out. And then here's a screenshot of how I interact with them. This is sort of like the hand pallet truck. So this particular video was all about the different equipment that you would find in a retail warehouse, and the different sort of functionalities each of these machines equipment would do. So, here they talk about how there's a set of wheels at the back, then you've got the pallet in front, and I try to make them understand what a pallet means. And, I use all the interactive annotation tools on Zoom to show them what things mean. So, I mean, obviously the online techniques are all available to us, and it's been good for me to be able to show the participants who attend class, on Fridays and Saturdays, and then as well as have these recordings handy for participants who are not able to attend, but are able to, manage to, successfully submit their activities and their tasks and their assignments and their quizzes online. And a couple of them have been doing that, even though I don't see them in class that often. They've been, going through the portal and doing that, right? So that's been really, really good for me, because I don't then have to spoon feed each one of them, because as I said, they all have different sort of levels of challenges, and yeah, apart from that, I just would like to say that I'm very much impressed by this tool that Solzark is providing us, the learning management system called Postplay, and the voiceovers. I'm hoping that Solzark manages to get even more voiceovers for every video there is there in Marathi, because that's my particular language of concern with my students. I know there's quite a few voiceovers in Tamil, and I hope they get enough for Marathi as well. But no, and I'd also like to say Preeti, Navleen have both been really, really supportive in whatever request that we may have for our students. And I just like to say our students really, really enjoy because the content is so engaging, it's so relevant, it's so job specific, that I think it is definitely put a new light to them when they're going as applicants in the future, to different agencies, different companies. And I'd also like to say, to Solzark and to Natasha, that to please continue to push the bigger organizations who partner with you all on internships. It's very important that individuals and persons with disabilities, have a foot in the door and have that chance when it comes to internships. Our students are very much up for it, and they're really looking to get involved. So thank you, everyone. That's my time here. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Neeraj. Just one thing that I would like to add is, I think one of the most innovative classes, the way you communicate with your students and you convey the entire content to them is just amazing. I mean, the kind of atmosphere you create in your class by actually becoming friendly to them and just having it 3 times in a week for 40 minutes, I think you're doing a brilliant job. And I think I have not seen a better way of actually having such a friendly class with students in an online mode. Brilliant job. I mean, truly hats off to you for this kind of help and support that you are extending for these students. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. I share a good rapport with all our students, and that's just,
I mean, it's quite evident
that's
from
just
the
been my
very
way.
scene. Yes.
Yeah. But that really helps. I think that really helps. The confidence and the trust,
right?
Because a lot of them suffer from lack of motivation, and I think that confidence and trust with that rapport building really helps. And you see that in their results. You see that over time they're submitting more assignments, they're submitting things in time, and they're understanding things better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Neeraj. We can quickly take questions. For those who have any questions for Neeraj, please put them in the chat box. And also just want to take a minute to acknowledge that we've reached the closing time, but we do have one more organization who would like to present their learnings with us. So if you could maybe bear for another 10-15 minutes and we should be good to go. A lot of wonderful learnings coming our way. And in the meanwhile, I think everyone can keep posting their questions for Neeraj and he can help address them. Right. I think Shankar has a question for you, Neeraj. He says, thanks, Neeraj. Great work for a diverse group with innovative social environment. Working with young adults with multiple disabilities, did we have a chance to work on any technology adaptations for accessing devices during the course?
So when you mean by technology adaptations, are you referring to, I guess, trying to ensure that that our students are assistive technology? Right. So yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, Zoom has been incredibly useful. Sharing, I mean, annotating the different elements of the presentations and the videos by pausing them and identifying them, even doing the activities, doing them via Zoom, and getting them to answer. A lot of our, as I mentioned, a lot of our students are quite savvy. They themselves figure out how to annotate and how to mark things on the sort of whiteboard on Zoom. So it's quite good, and because there's that competitive streak, the others want to learn as well. So it's been great. I think the Courseplay portal has allowed them to become savvy with these online applications and tools. And it's a completely different medium than what their traditional academic medium of communication has been. So yeah, no, definitely the Zoom the Zoom tools. As a grassroots NGO, we've got a free Zoom tool. We don't have all the advanced tools, but I think it's still amazing. There's still some amazing applications that they can use to interact with us. So it's definitely they've definitely learned along the way to do that. So yes.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Neeraj. I think what we can do is we can move on to the next presentation. Thanks a lot, Neeraj. It was wonderful hearing from you. Like I mentioned earlier, if anyone has any questions that come to mind later, you may please feel free to send them to us, and we'll make sure that some of our partners can get those answered, so that, like we mentioned, we can all learn from one another's experience, and that's how we can all collaborate towards a collective movement. I think the final organization who's here with us to share their learnings is DIA Foundation. DIA Foundation is a vocational training center based in Bangalore that provides education and life skills and employability skills to adults with intellectual challenges. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to share the?
Sure. Can you just share the presentation?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for the previous presenters. It was a good experience that we learned, and we also took a few of your tips, which would really help us in our upcoming classes. And here we would also share you a few tips, like how we are picking up our classes in our SOLSAG. So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So SOLSAG has been a wonderful platform where our trainees are able to work on their portal individually, like independently. Like even the SOLSAG platform is like well organized and well structured. It goes with the flow where it says like PPT, worksheets, quiz, and master quiz. So yeah, so even we know that our students are able to understand what are their learnings and what are they lacking behind, and we can go back and teach them like what they're lacking in. And this we are taking up online classes because due to the pandemic, and it's going on quite well. Can you go to the next slide, please? And also trainees have been able to come up with different rules and regulations that they have to follow in their class, where we have a tracker sheet where they have to maintain their daily learnings, their attendance, their rules and regulations, and their responsibility. So we call it as a milli sheet, a tracker milli sheet. So students are able to open an Excel sheet and fill out their details by their own or with the help of their parents, and that actually helps them to learn more about IT and MS Word. So this is all this technical things that are being learned in this field. And to the next slide, please. So now I would be talking about individual achievements. Like Mark, he is an he basically didn't have much communication skills previously. He used to just start the conversation and just keep in mute. But nowadays, what he does is he keeps on asking questions. Like if he doesn't understand anything or if he wants to tell his point of view, he puts on his words and himself, and he asks us the question, and he also interact with the other players, and he makes sure that everyone is comfortable, and he's such a person, he's a friendly person. So uh, he asks questions, and he also maintains the am I audible or?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay. Because I hear some noise. Okay. So yeah, so that's about Mark, and Sharon is another trainee. He didn't actually have any computer knowledge before, but we actually figured out like how can we provide him a system so that he can attend this online platform, online SOLSA platform. So we from Dia Foundation has provided them a system so that he can operate the portal from that. And he had improved his computer skills in that, like he opens the system independently, and he logins to the portal, and he uploads and downloads the worksheets, and he finishes the task completely with sometimes with the help of his colleague or his mother. So that's one of his improvement, and that's same with Syed as well. He's from he's an Enable India student. So even he didn't have any computer knowledge before, but then with the help of his mother and with the help of the trainers, he was able to learn a little more computer skills. And next is Nitin. So here, and as I told, we have this Millie sheet, right? So we have different managers like Millie manager, attendance manager, rules and responsibility manager. So different managers. So what Nitin does is he takes up those responsibilities of checking like each individual has been completed their task, like not only in the tracker sheet, but also in the portal. People have finished their worksheets on time, has submitted it to me, and he always keeps on track with me as well, like to the trainers as well, like asking us, did this person submit the assignment on time, or if they didn't submit, he would individually ask them to submit it before time. So that's a really big improvement for Nitin, that we would say. And next we have Dinesh, and before this class, before SOLSA class, we used to have this domain training. Like he used to not attend the classes on time. Like most often he would be a bit late, or half an hour or 15 minutes late. But now when he's having this management responsibility, he used to attend the classes on time. Because there's a saying, like you have to give the keys to the thief so that he won't rob anything from the bank or something. So it's the same way. Like if a trainee has been lacking that skill, maybe we need to give them that particular responsibility so that he would take that responsibility, and he would improve himself in that. So this improvement, this achievement has been done with Dinesh, and even his communication skills has been improved a lot. Like he used to finish, he is finishing his assignments also on time, and he also encourages his peers to also finish the assignments and submit it. And even Bharat, every time he is on point, like 3 o'clock he joins the class, and 4:40 or 4:59 he says, "Ma'am, I need to leave." So that's how Bharat is. He's on point with the time management skills. So these are individuals improvements that we would see. Can we go to the next slide? And here there were a few challenges that we faced, and we also came up with few solutions that I will be talking simultaneously, and which is also in the next slide. So Rabin, a trainee, he's from Kerala, and because this is an online training program, he's having a language barriers, like he doesn't understand English or Tamil or Kannada, nothing. Like he understands only Malayalam. He studied in Malayalam, and even the worksheets he was finding it difficult, and he had also sitting tolerance. He lacked sitting tolerance, and so what we did is we actually asked one of our trainers to take individual sessions for him in Malayalam, and also for the worksheets what we did is okay, yeah, sure. So what we did is we asked one of our trainers to take up individual sessions for him in Malayalam, and even the worksheets that can be helped to be noted down in Malayalam script, so that he would understand and he would grasp more knowledge about detail and MS Word, other rules. And for sitting tolerance, we have spoken to a psychiatrist, a counselor. She would be taking up sessions with him, and yeah, that is being sorted out now. And for Sharan, he lacked time management skills, and nowadays he's the time manager and he's doing a pretty good job. For Nitin, what Nitin does is before the lesson is done, he goes to the next unit. So that's not the thing which we wanted. So what we did is we actually explained it to him that this is how you need to wait for others, and you need to wait for the other peers also to finish. And also what we did, we gave him feedbacks with his previous works, like previous unit and or previous worksheets, whatever we did. And there were few mistakes, and we asked him, so this is what happens when you rush through the units. So we made him to realize the positives and negative sides of being faster than the others. Like it's good to be learning fast, but then in some point of time we need to also correct himself. So he understood, and he is being on track, and we're happy with it. And for Dinesh, he's not working. He's not able to do his computer works individually, like the worksheets individually. He's always taking the help of his brother or his mother. So we are taking we have planned to take offline classes from January, hopefully, if the pandemic is not in the high. So yeah, offline classes would help him, because we can give him zero copy, or the worksheets can be given to him, and where he can write it down. And so these are the challenges. And for Syed, he doesn't I can't say like he doesn't have patience, he does, but then he speaks fast, like whatever, if we present a screen and he just reads, but if we ask what did you understand, he doesn't understand what he read. So what we used to do is we used to pause the PPT and show him a video, like what is, like how can he improve himself in understanding, or being patient with others, or talking politely. So we saw some behavioral issues with him. So, but then it's kind of solving it. We are actually solving it with the help of his parents, and yeah, that's going on. And the explanation is needed for him, and the help of their parents is there are more support from his side. So can you go to the next slide? So the next slide is also I've already spoken. Yeah. So also, yeah, for Syed, the rules and responsibility has been set. Like previously I said, the tracker sheet where the students themselves have prepared their rules and regulations so that they follow and we also follow the rules in the class. So he understands it. If he doesn't follow, he gets a red mark. So in the end of the week, we have a separate session where we get time to revert on our learnings, and we correct ourselves. So this training is purely, I would say, like it's been more supported, like from the SOLSAT side and from the parent side and from the trainer side and from the trainee side, because with everyone holding hands together makes a huge difference. So that's what we believe, and that's what we are doing it, and hopefully it would be a betterment for our trainees. On the next slide, the last slide is every plant has their own requirements in order to grow, right? And even us. So a cactus plant have its own way of growing. Like it needs sunlight to grow, not much rain, or not cloudy or no sun. And the next plant, it needs rain so that it would grow. It would grow up, and it doesn't need any sunlight or much sunlight. And the next is like the plant needs a little bit sunlight and a little bit cloudy so that it would grow in its own in his pace. So it's each individual is different, and we need to focus on each individual individually, and they are unique. So that's what we believe, and yeah, that's what we are teaching our trainees as well. So thank you. If you have any doubts, please you can ask us. And I'm sorry to take so much of time. It's already time. Yeah.
And thank you so much. Thank you. So, Dia Foundation, it is highly recommended. I mean, the way you all conduct these classes with such difficult students is very, challenging, but it is, you do a very good job with this. And from our observations, we've seen how patiently you all have been taking these classes and wonderfully handling every student in the class.
Thank you so much, Preeti.
Thank you so much, Danita. Thank you. Yeah, Nupur?
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Dia Foundation, and would just like to thank everyone who's stayed with us despite us going a bit overboard. But I think we're drawing close to the session today, and we've learned so many wonderful things, a lot of takeaways for us. Right, sorry. What we'll now be doing is a couple of you reached out saying that you would like to know a little more about the Pathways program. Preeti is now going to be putting up the inquiry form in the link. We would request you to quickly just fill in your details into the inquiry form, and someone from our team will get in touch with you at the earliest. We are also going to be sharing a small feedback form. Through the feedback form, you can give us some of your questions, your suggestions. You can reach out to us and let us know how this experience has been for you. I think that's about it from our end. A big thank you to all of our presenters, all of our partners who are here, our donors, as well as other NGOs who are working towards the same cause. It was wonderful interacting with you. Preeti has put in the inquiry form. Please feel free to fill that up. And we'll just be sharing the feedback form as well. So all of your feedback, your suggestions are completely welcome. Thank you very much. We're just putting up the feedback form as well. Just give us a moment, please. It'll be nice if you can Right. Both forms, the feedback form as well as the inquiry form, have been put up. If you would like to reach us, would like for us to reach out to you and take you through the Pathways program in detail, please feel free to fill up both the forms, and we'll be looking forward to interacting with you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot.